Alright, so as I covered back at release, GT7 was, and still is, basically the killer app for PSVR 2. Even today, it's so good that I still believe a good steering wheel PSVR 2 setup is worth shelling out for if you're seriously into racing games. It's the kind of dream experience that I've always wanted to see from a home console. I didn't really expect Polyphony to upgrade the PSVR 2 mode for the PS5 Pro. It wasn't discussed in any significant capacity, but when you drop into the options menu, you'll find this option pertaining to it. The game doesn't even really explain what it does, other than noting that you may encounter some visual anomalies and it makes the racing feel more realistic. But upon inspection, it turned out to be one of the best features of this patch. It takes GT7 to the next level in VR by basically solving my #1 issue with the original version, motion clarity. So here's the deal. On a base PS5, GT7 runs at 60 FPS in VR, but using asynchronous time warp. The player's head movement is basically interpolated up to a higher frame rate, so looking around feels very smooth, but everything else in the game world updates at just a half rate. I can't really show it here since it's not visible in the capture, but to give you an idea, you get this double image effect on all 3D elements, exactly like running a 60 FPS game within a 120Hz container on a CRT or any other low persistence display. On PS5 Pro, this new reprojection option, however, fixes this entirely. It's instantly noticeable. Motion is now ultra crisp, the double image effect is gone, and nearly all remaining blur is addressed fully. The difference in clarity is profound. Plus, actual image quality seems higher too. It's sharper and feels more detailed to the eye. So, how did they do it? Well, it turns out what we're looking at is effectively Sony's take on asynchronous space warp. No, this is not science fiction. You see, unlike time warp, space warp applies to animation, camera, and head translation. Think of it like frame generation but geared towards VR. The game generates new frames based on prediction. There's no real information on how they're even doing it, mind you. Are they leveraging machine learning? Is it even possible on a base PS5? None of this is clear, but what is clear are the graphics. It works exceptionally well, with only a couple minor caveats. So, firstly, this mode can interfere with HUD elements, causing distortion on text, depending on what's happening in the scene. Secondly, when objects pass behind transparent surfaces, like the fences here in Watkins Glen, you end up with some other visual anomalies. However, if I'm honest, for my taste, these are ultimately not important compared to the massive boost in quality. It's just an unbelievable lift in motion clarity, and it really got me back into playing this game in PSVR 2.